So is there any particular reason you decided to write about nursery characters in The Big Over Easy?
Nursery characters, I don't know. I mean, I tend to regard my writing as a series of dares, really. A bit like Scottish cuisine, if I can say such a thing. It was really, I just like the idea of Humpty Dumpty being a murder mystery, a police procedural, and that is essentially, where the book starts and finishes. And I just like the idea, and whenever I like an idea like that, I think, right, there must be a way to expand this into 100,000 words, and that's essentially what I did. And it was the same thing with the Goldilocks book as well. What's the real story going on there? There's more to it than meets the eye, and I do like that sort of idea where you take these things which are really quite stable in people's sort of collective memories. Like Humpty Dumpty is just like a rhyme, and then you go, yeah, you thought it was a rhyme, but actually no, there's a lot more there. Goldilocks, 3 bears, what were Mummy Bear and Daddy Bear? Why were they sleeping in separate beds? Clearly, clearly there's some sort of marital discord within the bear family unit, and we should be told. And is there a reason why Goldilocks went missing? And once you start asking all these questions, you see all these very, very things which are fixed in people's heads, like nursery rhymes and the classics, which are very solid. You're really sort of turning them through sort of 20 degrees and giving someone a little look at something behind, lifting the curtain perhaps. And I think there's something very exciting and different in that.
Do you think your own personality comes into your writing?
Well, I think it has to. I think in any author, I mean, because they're my books really. Until I write them, then they're yours because they get altered by interpretation, obviously, or embellished, shall we say, by interpretation. Yes, they have to be, I think. But the good thing about being an author, of course, is that you can distill 5 months of really not being very funny at all into one sentence of being quite funny, really. And that's the great thing about being an author, because people think that you talk that way and you live your life in this sort of wonderful, sort of easy, sort of narrative. But you don't. You just take 7 months to put together all these words, and it's a wonderful cheat, I must say.
Have you based any characters on people you know, or do people you know see themselves in your book?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I have done. I sort of sneaked in some characters. But the wonderful thing about writing in people that you know is they never notice. Because, of course, people see themselves. We see ourselves differently as other people see us. So when you write about a character that that they never see it. Never see it. So no, I've got away with that, luckily.
When you're writing, are you conscious of the reader, or do you just write for yourself?
I am conscious of the reader, but generally it's best to write for oneself. I write what amuses me, but there is a kind of when you write as a career, then obviously there is a sort of reader expectation that's always there in the background, a sort of low murmur that you really have to feel that you have to sort of really listen to. But essentially, I tend to regard being an author as a sort of there's a contract between reader and writer, and they give me their hard-earned cash, and I have to entertain them for 100,000 words. And once you sort of fix that in your head, then all the rest kind of follows. It's like write better books. There's no better advice than that, really. Everything else follows.
Well, we study a lot of authors in school and obviously analyse their texts and find symbolism and social messages beneath the subtext, which we think they try to convey. But do you ever intentionally put deeper meaning behind?
No, I think the trick, you don't want to. No one wants to be preachy, and that's really annoying. But I think essentially, if you set your books within a framework of what you feel are positive values, then that's all you need to do. And I think when it comes to attempting to make the world a better place, which, as we all know, is a very hard job, is that you just put in your little whiff and hope that it when people read my books and they think about what's going on, and perhaps the background to the politics and everything, is that reinforces a feeling perhaps they have otherwise, and that's I feel that the job of an author is not to preach, but to just put forward a positive viewpoint that would then sort of accentuate another positive viewpoint that would come from hopefully another author. So that's my take on it, really. Yeah.
What book are you most proud of, and why?
Oh, what book am I most? What of mine? Yeah. I don't know really. I think my favourite is probably The Fourth Bear. I don't know why. It just sort of fits together as it's very, very silly, and yet it works as a police procedural. You know, there's a victim and several murders, and it's just absolute nonsense. But does all sort of tie up at the end quite nicely, with the baddie getting his just desserts in a really unexpectedly good way. You know, and I love using little sort of subplots that seemingly just look like me being silly, but actually are very, very relevant, you know, when you come to the last sort of 7 or 8 pages. So that will work very well in the fourth bear. So I think I have a particular sort of affection for it.
We were discussing fan fiction on the show a couple of weeks ago, and the concept of fan fiction could be said to be like the Big Over Easy. But do you agree with fan fiction? Have you ever read fan fiction of your own books?
No, I haven't. I mean, I often get emails where people have said, you know, read my fan fiction about Thursday Next, and I email back and go, you know, no. Why would I want to? I don't really see any reason to. I mean, my feeling about fan fiction is, I mean, essentially, you know, you can do whatever you want, really. I mean, that's, you know, perhaps it's good writing practice. But spending a lot of time writing a book that isn't your own seems to be a bit odd to me, and in fact, perhaps that time would be better spent writing books that are your own. And even if they're not terribly good, it doesn't matter. They are your own. And the next book you write will be that little bit better. And 5 or 6 books down the line, suddenly you're doing stuff of multiple quality, and you could become a published author. So I think there's perhaps a bit of practicing and treading water there. But it is, you know, there's a bit of shorthand, because of course people know the characters, and then it becomes easier to write. But you know, I have no objection to people doing it. I don't want to read it. You know, and certainly I think probably time could be better spent, you know, writing your own books, you know.
Well, do you agree that there's a decline in real books and that e-books are the future of novels, like the iPod was for music?
Ah, right, yes, the old e-book question, which come around a lot. I don't know. I mean, we talk about this quite a lot in, you know, in green rooms and whenever authors get together. And I think that the short answer is that no one really knows whether the traditional book, as we see it, will go. But reading stories, I don't believe will go. And essentially, it's all about content. And I think that's what maybe a lot of the bigger publishers like Amazon are perhaps forgetting, is that this is all about content and all about authors, and how we actually read our books is, for the most part, irrelevant. You know, as long as people are still writing good stories and people are still reading good stories, that's really, you know, all that's important as far as I'm concerned.
So, what are the highlights of Shades of Grey for you? What do you think sells it?
What do I think sells it? I don't know. It's very odd, really. I do like the idea of sort of future dystopias. I think what I enjoyed about Shades of Grey was it was really doing something entirely new and different. And I think when you're an author, you'll be doing similar work for a number of years. And I've done 5 Thursday Next books and 2 nursery crime books, and they're pretty much the gag, you know, the conceit, if you like, is taking characters we already know about and then just playing with that, you know, with that thing in the head that you already have in your head. So the idea for me was to go totally different and write about things that I would not normally write about, and my own characters in my own situations. So I wasn't actually stealing, homage, any other characters from anywhere else. And that, for me, was exciting. And really trying to make a very banal story kind of interesting and exciting, because, you know, what happens to Eddie initially is quite banal, really. I mean, it's about him trying to get married. Him trying to marry up, so it's very much a sort of Jane Austen story, if you like, but then it all starts to go very dark and nasty right at the end.
Thank you very much.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for coming around. You can have some tea and crunchies and stuff.